Donald Trump is your president! But let's talk about what he's really up to. Track with me. So what we're witnessing is a businessman running the American corporation for the first time in at least my life, and I'm 45 years old. Think about it. Reagan was an actor. Bush was a CIA military plant. Bush 2, another CIA military plant. Clinton, he was a governor his whole life and a politician his whole life. Obama had like 2 jobs his entire life. Donald Trump is the first. Biden, fuck, Biden's never had a job other than the government. Donald Trump's the first businessman in most of ours, if not all of our lifetime, to come in. Now, what do business people do when they see a company that's not running correctly? They fix it. They improve it. If we hire Donald Trump to come be the CEO of phone sites, like I could afford that, the first thing he's going to do is start picking apart the things that I'm doing wrong with the brand, how I'm mismanaging the budget, how I'm spending too much money on employment, and I'm not bringing in enough revenue for the bottom line. Those are the things business guys, CEOs, look at when it comes to a business. What politicians look at, how can I go serve the American people and pad money in my pockets? And we've watched these people that have never worked, never paid a massive amount of taxes, never paid payroll taxes, never started a corporation, never did shit. We watched them sell out to China. We see businesses like Apple here in America, and Apple says, hey, we can get cheaper labor in China. We'll just go outsource our plants over to China. Our government, our officials, they're saying, hey, we can get more money from China. Let's just do what's in China's best interest because they're paying me and they're funding my campaign. Now all of a sudden we have a guy that doesn't need the money the same way that these other folks do, doesn't need the sponsorship, was actually every sponsorship, every donation was yanked against him for a long time. People wouldn't give him shit until the very end when they figured out how terrible Kamala and Biden were. But then this guy steps into a corporation. Stop thinking of it as a country. He's the CEO and president of that corporation. What we should have been doing this whole time was electing someone who knows how to run a corporation. We need the Tim Cooks of the world to be the presidents of the country. Tim Cook, you may not agree with him politically. I understand that. But at least he's somebody who has managed, 400,000 employees and $1 trillion payroll budget over the course of a decade that's somewhat semblance of the size of government. But Donald Trump comes in, and if we hired Donald Trump to come in and run your company, he would show you how to add to your bottom line, how to increase revenue, decrease overhead, and how to scale and make money accordingly. That's what we're doing in this country now. So what people are seeing is a system that has failed us for centuries. Is people have been complaining about this system. It takes advantage of black people. It takes advantage of Hispanics. It takes advantage of trannies, or whatever the case may be. And a guy comes in and he says, the system's fucked. I'm going to change it. And people go, well, I don't want the system to change. What the fuck? If we're in a failing company, which we are, we're in a company headed towards chapter fucking 7 bankruptcy. We are going to have to just sell everything off and give it away in order to stay even alive in this country if we don't start increasing revenue and decreasing overhead. How do you decrease overhead? You cut spending. You cut off foreign aid. You cut off 88,000 fucking retarded IRS agents that they're trying to hire. You cut off all of that shit because it's useless spending, and our politicians put it in place because it pads their pockets. This is what so many people never understand. You can empower a few and they can rule over many. Or you can empower many and they can rule over everything. We could be ruling the fucking universe right now, but these book-burning piece of shit politicians been setting us back century after century after century. We don't know where the fucking pyramids come from. We don't know if there's fucking aliens. We don't even know how the fuck we got here because they burnt all the fucking books. They've hidden all the information so that a few people can control us, and that is changing. And you have to stop looking at it as the president's firing people and deporting people. You have to look at it as the president's coming in and cleaning this company up. He's about to flip this company to private equity for about a 50 times EBITDA multiple. He is going to absolutely turn this thing around. And you know what? If it don't work, we can always go back to the broken system that's always been here. We at least need to try something new in a sense that what if it works? What if we don't have to pay income taxes anymore? Now, don't forget, income isn't the only tax we pay. Property tax, sales tax, capital gains tax, payroll tax, corporate tax. There is a ton of self-employment tax. There are a ton of other taxes we pay outside of just income tax, right? But income is obviously the biggest. If you take away income taxes from Americans, they're going to spend more money. We're not a responsible people in this country. We're not going to be any richer. There's just going to be more money in circulation because people will spend it, which will stimulate everything. I had a smart fellow say, well, if there's no taxes, how do we pay for our defense budget? First of all, that is a great question, but there are other taxes. And if we're getting rid of 1 million IRS agents, and if we get rid of 1 million DEA agents, and we get rid of all this other shit that we don't need because of the DOGE, the Department of Government Expenses, right? If we go through and we have DOGE coming through and we get rid of all these places, all these things that we've been funding, this foreign aid, the Ukraine, you think that we couldn't have funded our military, the $1 trillion we've given the Ukraine? The fuck did we give it to them for? I don't even know any Ukrainians. I don't got nothing against them, but that's none of my fucking business. Just like if my two neighbors are fighting, it's none of my fucking business. Let them fucking do it. As long as they don't fuck with my house, they can blow each other up. I don't care. Imagine if they, well, we cut taxes. Yeah, well, we cut off other motherfuckers too. We stopped paying Colombia. We stopped paying Mexico. We stopped paying fucking, all these countries that hate us anyway. And we take that money and dump it. Instead of paying these countries to protect them, we dump it into our own budget, protect ourselves. Guess what? I'm not in government work, but I would guess the defense budget would decrease if we only had to protect ourselves. If we just made it to where America was like the Iron Dome in Israel, to where you just can't come in or out of this motherfucker or fuck with us, period. Fuck, we care what everybody else is doing. What the fuck do we care? The system that everybody complains about, the racist, bigoted, white supremacist system that we have in this country, there's somebody who's changing that and people are fighting it. They're fighting for the very system that they hate. When I was in prison, I was in federal prison. I was in a lower security, what they call a minimum security place. It was behind a fence, so it wasn't a camp, but it was a club fed. There would be guys that came from these United States penitentiaries, which were like gladiator farms, people with life sentences, and they'd work their way down and get to these minimum security facilities after they've been locked up for 10 years or so. And this is what they'd say. Man, it was a lot better over there at fucking Florence. Man, they motherfuckers fighting every day. Man, you get shanked in the hallway. I miss that shit, man. Shit was so much better over there. They're just trying to sound tough like they made it over there. If they wanted to go back, all you gotta do is shank one of us and go right the fuck back over there. They'll take you right back at Florence. They got a cot waiting for you over there. But none of them ever did that, because that's the right thing to say. Where they come from, oh man, it's so the old system, even though you've been complaining about it. And while you were locked up in Florence, you were definitely complaining about it. But now you're somewhere else, you're complaining about this, and you try to make that better. It's the same way with this policy that's going on. Whether you voted liberal or whether you voted for Trump, here's what I would encourage you. All of us have said that the system is failing us. No matter our race, our gender, our skin color, we've all said that we feel marginalized by the United States government. We have somebody who's coming in to increase the margins that the government makes in their bottom line, and to increase the happiness that we have in our life and change the very system that we've been upset about for centuries. Don't you think we at least owe them a chance? Don't you think we at least should be like, worst case scenario, we just go right back to where we fucking came from and nothing changes? So just something for you to think about. We hired a CEO to come in and rebuild and flip a company. And when you stop looking at it as all these emotional things the media says, and you go, oh, if I hired a guy to come in and turn my company around, he'd want to change everything. That would be what needed for the failing company to turn around. And you have the scenario that we're in now. If you got anything to say about it, leave a comment down there, chime in. Prove me wrong. I never say I'm the smartest guy in the world. Prove me wrong that we could never pay the defense budget if we cut income taxes. Prove me wrong on anything that I said. I'm open to it. I'm not saying that I'm always right. Let's have a conversation in the comments.